Nerdrotic just suggested that Marvel is moving into a new phase where they're putting aside these feminist characters like Brie Larson's portrayal of Captain Marvel, and also Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk. There is no evidence for these claims offered, but he just tweeted, "There is no Brie Larson Captain Marvel in Avengers Doomsday." And he also followed it up saying there is no She-Hulk in Avengers Doomsday. Yes. To which Phil actually said, yet. We have no confirmation, but there is a recent interview that Brie Larson did on The View that might have suggested this is the case. She did say, you know, she finds it very heartwarming that little girls all across the nation are dressing up as Captain Marvel for Halloween, which isn't happening.
Is that true? Let's not make this gender. Like, outside of Spider-Man, which does have kids dressing up as Spider-Man. Yeah. Spider-Man is eternal. Spider-Man will always be popular. Are there really kids dressing up as superheroes? Like,
no, maybe Iron Man.
10 years ago?
Iron Man, Spider-Man, maybe Batman. I think like little boys really love Batman.
But otherwise, it's like anime and Dragon Ball Z still probably like.
We need to take a survey of what the kids are dressing up as. But they're certainly not dressing up as Captain Marvel. Little girls are not dressing up as Captain Marvel. If they are, it was their mom's idea. But anyway.
Let's watch this clip.
Here's the clip of Brie Larson actually refusing to answer whether or not she is going to be in Avengers Doomsday.
Is there any chance we'll see Captain Marvel in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday?
Thank you for asking, and you know I can't answer. they are so lock and key at Marvel.
She had to ask.
Yeah, that's just the awful haircut.
So apparently she shaved her head for a stage play that she was on, and it is growing back.
Yeah, still a very unfortunate look for her. And Brie Larson is an attractive woman. I know that's a controversial thing to say in these circles,
I think
but
people have
attractive.
come around to the idea that she can be traditionally, conventionally attractive while just having a bunch of interview clips that make her an unlikable person.
She just has an unattractive personality and unattractive political opinions. But yeah, Nerdrotic also followed up saying there's no She-Hulk in Avengers Doomsday. And
well, you know how I know that's true? Because Tatiana Maslany was saying boycott Disney during the Jimmy Kimmel debacle.
Right, yeah.
She was like,
she's
cancel your Disney Plus.
She has already excused herself from the MCU. There are also lingering questions about whether Jeremy Renner is going to make a return, and there were headlines that he dropped hints about this, and it was really a comment that he gave regarding his character, saying, I think he started retired, but he's always pulled out of retirement, you know? He's a family man. You always know where his allegiance lies, and he's always come out of retirement until he's killed. He's always going to be working.
Look, the big thing is they tried to get jump-started on a Hawkeye Season 2 with him and Kate Bishop, but they offered him half the money of Season 1, and he's like, nah, like, I don't got to do that. Also, of course, we know the snowplow incident from 2 years ago, which severely, injured him very, very badly. And he's back on his feet these days. But, the roles, even though there are stunt doubles, are still physically, there's a lot of physical demand. So it's funny. Last night, Tim was talking to, I forget the guest's name. He was great. He's like an on-the-ground reporter. And Tim was basically saying, like, you should be doing parkour and stuff like that. You should be learning to do this stuff because, like, if you're going to be in the middle of, like, what may turn into riots, you're going to have to be able to move quickly between groups of people, jump onto, the sides of banisters, get out of the way and stuff like that. Like, it's a physically demanding thing to do, even if it doesn't seem like it would be. So it's like for an actor, they're not the one doing the death-defying stunts, but it still requires a full range of mobility. And a lot of work to go into stuff like that, on top of the fact that they're expected to look a certain way physically,
right?
To embody the character of a superhero. Here's the problem with most of this. If you were to ask me, and if you're watching this podcast, I guess you kind of are, whether they were in the movie or not doesn't matter. In my personal opinion, the cast is already... It's just enormous. It's like over 20 people. It's bloated. It's pushing upwards to the 30s. They're relying heavily on 20th century Fox nostalgia still. Now, that worked very well for Deadpool and Wolverine because it was a bunch of cameos that were part of a laugh track, and it kind of worked with that theme. When you're doing an Avengers movie, which is theoretically supposed to have supposed stakes that matter, you need to be able to tell full-length stories to actually get the audience invested in it. And is there even enough time with even if it's like 3 hours long, is there enough time with like 30 people in the movie to tell a satisfying story among any number of the cast without just feeling like you're splitting a bunch of time between a bunch of big name celebrities who are all trying to get their shit in, for a lack of a better term? And Marvel in general right now, look at what happened this year. It was Thunderbolts. It's going to be the return of Marvel. It was a flop. It was Captain America Brave New World. It's going to be the return of Marvel. It was a flop. It was Fantastic Four. It's going to be the return of Marvel. It performed under Superman and I believe under F1. So flop, 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 flop. You have Daredevil and Ironheart. Daredevil didn't make it onto the Nielsen charts at all. Ironheart managed to make it there because they were putting 3 episodes out at a time.
Right.
Nobody cared. Bad CGI. Crappy Wilson Fisk. There is no excitement. There is no energy for any of this stuff. You've got actors going out and trying to boycott their own properties. You've got Mark Ruffalo out here, talking about the evils of capitalism when he's about to star in the next Spider-Man movie with John Bernthal and Tom Holland. It's crapshoot. And I think, like I said the other day, you can't go home again. You can't make it a thing again. I guess you can't use the joke. Stop trying to make this a thing. It's never going to be a thing. It was a thing.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to make it a thing again. It's like the world is different. We don't live in the era of 2016 Collider when people were starting to turn to the internet to get information on Hollywood and superheroes. There was a lot of excitement around this genre at the time. Now people are like, when's Minecraft 2 coming out? I love that movie. Like,
right.
They're like, people would be more interested to hear about whether Sinners was going to get a sequel than whether this movie is going to have any number of cast members because it's too bloated. Putting in Robert Downey Jr. was a Hail Mary. If it makes a ton of money, I don't think it even matters because one big movie where you shove 30,000 people in it isn't indicative of a larger return to prominence for the franchise. If this movie makes $1 billion, that doesn't mean that whatever solo film comes out next is going to make any amount of money.
I could be wrong about this,
except for Spider-Man. Spider-Man, again,
yeah.
I will preface this. Spider-Man is an exception. Spider-Man is extremely popular. His brand carries great weight and meaning, and Tom Holland, of course, has carried that legacy on and made a ton of money for Marvel. But that's not even just Marvel. That's Sony. So, again, I'm going to preface that. Spider-Man doesn't count. But whatever film after that. Like, did you guys know there's a Wonder Man series coming out? There is. Nobody. Do you know what that is? No. Nobody else does either. Don't worry about it. Nobody cares.
Is Tom Holland going to be in Avengers Doomsday?
I don't know if he's he's doing his own thing. I don't know if he was on that list. And I honestly don't think it matters. Like, I don't think his face is going to sell that movie. His face did more to sell the growth of Marvel when he was in Captain America Civil War, because it was novel back in 2016 to see him back with Marvel characters. Mm-hmm. I don't think it matters.
I'm dying to know what the poster is going to look like. It's going to be a Where's Waldo.
They're just all
just like a billion different people.
So I don't know if this is the most updated list, so you guys can get a look here. Chris Hemsworth, Anthony Mackie, Vanessa Kirby, Paul Rudd, Florence Pugh, Wyatt Russell. It's the guy who plays John Walker. Namor.
Oh.
Namor.
Wow.
Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. Sebastian Stan as Bucky. Letitia Wright, Shuri. Again, and then you start getting into all of these characters that were popular through other phases in Marvel. You see a lot of nostalgia for characters that were part of the X-Men universe. It's all just a crapshoot, and I don't think any of it. Maybe Pedro Pascal will sell $1 million worth of tickets. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think
think
so.
so.
Fantastic Four, but
I'm happy to be wrong.
I was gonna say I could be wrong about this, but I feel like aside from video game movies, which are huge, people are more interested, it seems, in grounded stories, things away from the fantasy genre, away from sci-fi, especially because of the Tron flop, away from superheroes in general, aside from Spider-Man. Am I right about that? What do you think? I feel like what's generating the most conversation at the very least is grounded stories that involve real people in, seemingly real environments.
I think honestly right now it's more like we're gonna move into the realm of like I said, K-pop Demon Hunters could have made hundreds of millions of dollars if it had gotten its full run at the box office. I think animated movies, I think anime adaptations, not live action. We're gonna get into that later. And horror movies, like horror movies are not necessarily going to be billion-dollar movies, but relative to their budget, they make their studios a lot of money. I did a video earlier this week about one of the reasons I wouldn't want to see Warner Brothers ending up sold to another company is they're prevalent not just making their own movies, but they do a lot of distribution for movies. So they didn't just make Sinners, they distributed a lot of other movies this year that were made by like New Line Cinema and stuff like that. So I think horror, like if I'm a studio these days, I'm not looking to make billion-dollar movies at $250 million a film. I'm looking to make a $30 million horror movie or a $40 million horror movie that makes
like $300
million. Not even necessarily just that, but like $200 million, $300 million at the box office.
People seem more interested in smaller budget or, B budget movies that generate discourse.
Yeah, less return on, less. Maybe it's like the other thing is like, with the superhero stuff, like it all feels like homework now. Like you said, like what's Wonder Man? I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like it's had something to do with like he's like a struggling actor, and I'm like, bro, I don't know. I
feel like I heard about it like 2 years ago, and then it disappeared for a while.
Nobody cares.
And then it came back.
Nobody knows. Nobody cares. Remember, they made Echo as a show, bro. Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. They don't. The saddest thing that could happen to Marvel, and this is just a personal opinion, is if they don't allow Iman Vellani to appear, because I do believe her Miss Marvel is like, that is perhaps their biggest missed opportunity and the biggest casualty of Marvel's overt feminism was you had a young actress who was doing everything right as far as promotion. She is an absolute sweetheart in interviews. She seems to have a deep care for the actual intellectual property, unlike a lot of the celebrities who pretend to care. And I think that losing out on that enthusiasm by making it a gendered thing, I think you could have made a movie where you just focus on that actress being really good at her job and just tell a very, very simple story that doesn't have to lean into some type of girl power element. I'm probably going to be re-recording the video I was doing this week about girl bosses. I scrapped it because it was a little bit too confusing after the fact. But I think that they really missed out with Iman Vellani, and if they had taken a more measured approach with her, she really could have been a huge influence on Marvel. But it was just never going to happen because they were always going to push it because they want to pretend like Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel were big popular characters in the comics, which they never were.
Well, even with Iman Vellani, she's playing a teenager, and you just can't do that forever. So,
no. Well, I mean, but the character can grow up in the universe. That's fine. So,
thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.